Hey guys, Ike here from Mike'sOutdoors.com. I'm here today to take a look at the new Megameat Broadhead from G5. Okay, so I'm going to give you a good close-up look at the new Megameat Broadhead. And the first thing that I noticed on these was the tip. These are a really cool tip. I really like the design on these tips. They're fairly sharp and come to a nice steep angle and have a real good chiseled design. These ought to really break bone and do a really good job of it. These are 100% stainless steel. Blades are super sharp. We're going to put them through a broadhead or a sharpness test later on. These have a rearward deploying blade on here. You can see the front edge of this is not sharp, so when it comes and comes into contact with something, this should push this blade back and open this thing up. We're going to test that out on some ballistics gel. Ballistics gel is notoriously hard to get an expandable broadhead to open, so we're going to test that out on some ballistics gel. These have the snap lock collar, and how these snap lock collars work is on the collar itself it has these protrusions, and the protrusions look just like this. The protrusions have these two studs on here, and the blades, on the back side of the blades, you'll see you have a protrusion on the back side of the blade that will actually snap right into that, and be very careful doing this because these are very sharp broadheads, but it'll snap right into those two studs and hold that in place. You can see these are very good broadheads as far as not wanting to come open. They're not going to open up in your quiver. I put them in and out of my quiver several times and they do not want to open, so it's really good design on that head, and it really does a good job of holding these blades closed. As I said, these are all steel. Even the tip is steel and has a nice sharpened design to it. Really like the look of these things overall. These have a huge 2-inch cutting diameter on these things, and it's a 3-blade, so when you see these things deployed, on the back side of the card you can see the actual size of the blade when it is open and the hole that it makes. They're going to make a huge hole in a whitetail or a hog or an elk or anything that you're going to put these things through. So a massive hole for these Megameat broadheads. So let's test these things out. Let's see how sharp they are, and we'll take them outside and we'll take them and give them an accuracy test, and we'll put them through some ballistics gel and see how well they perform on the ballistics gel. But up first, let's do the sharpness test. Okay, so let's see what kind of pressure it takes to cut this with this Megameat. I mean, nothing. It takes so little effort to cut that thing. Okay, so we got our ballistics gel set up here, and we're going to be shooting. All these tests are going to be performed with a Quest Syntech set at 70 pounds, 27.5-inch draw. Basically my hunting setup. And we're going to be using my hunting arrow, which is a deer crossing SD Hunter at about 450 grain. Now, for the destruction test, I'm going to switch to a different arrow because I don't like destroying my good hunting arrows. But everything else will be set under those parameters. So our first test here is the ballistics gel test, and I've got a pretty small piece of ballistics gel up there, so we're going to cut it open and see what it does to it, see if it opens. But it's also going to be a good accuracy test. We're going to shoot this from 20 yards away, and what we're going to do is use that Quest Syntech that is broadhead tuned to a G5 striker. So we're going to see if the Megameat will fly like a field point and be able to hit that small square of ballistics gel. So let's get over here and let's do some shooting and see what it'll do. Okay, so this ballistics gel is a little bit cloudy, but you can see the damage that this thing did, and the arrow went all the way through, so the veins went through behind it, but you can see the damage that this thing did is definitely more than what those veins would do. You can see where the blade opened up all the way out here to the extent of my finger. Here's the point of impact, and we have a cut all the way up to here. The cut went all the way up and split this top completely open. and then extended all the way down to this chasm here and made just a gigantic hole in this thing. So just a huge hole in this ballistics gel. So no issues with an opening on this ballistics gel, and absolutely devastating hole in this thing. I wish this ballistics gel was a little bit more clear, but it's been poured a couple times and it's gotten cloudy. But absolutely no issues with the damage that it did. It just did an outstanding job on this ballistics gel, doing damage and opening a huge wound channel. The other thing is I shot it from 20 yards. This is pretty much where I was aiming. Accuracy is there as far as tuning goes. I'm not going to have to do anything to that bow to get these Megameats to fly, other than what I would. That bow is already broadhead tuned, and it would do, I wouldn't have to do anything to get this thing to fly out to 20 yards and probably beyond, to get it to hit accurately. So a lot of damage, a lot of devastation to that ballistics gel, and it flies great. So let's strap on the other arrow. Let's put the broadhead on another arrow, and let's see what kind of damage or what kind of abuse this thing will hold up to. Okay, so we're going to start with the plywood test, and we're going to shoot this from about 5 yards away because we want the maximum speed and energy we can get on these destruction tests. So no issues with the head, no issues with the blade. What I have done is I have ruined the shock collar on this, but these come with 3 extra collars, so I'm going to take that one off, clean out the channel on this because there's even some wood splinters in there. It's got wood and foam in there clogging it up, and we'll shoot it into something else. Okay, so after further examination of the blades, one of them is bent and it's just kicked off to the side a little bit. I don't know if you guys can even see it. It's just kicked off a little bit, and that is causing it to not be operational. It's not wanting to slide back up. The other 2 blades they're just kind of jammed in there because of this one's kicked over a little bit at the top. Right here at the top, it's just kicked over and kind of jammed into there. And then this one's actually operational and looks like it would be fine. It's just got some wood in there. So the ferrule is fine. So with a little bit of work on this thing, you could probably fix it and get it to operate again and replace the blades. That is about as good a test as what I can replicate with bone on a consistent basis. So it's not quite bone, but it kind of gives you an idea of what would happen with bone. But it got a good pass through it. It went through it and passed through it about another 6 inches or so. It opened up. It had no issues with making a hole in that, and it would have cut the whole way through. Now, take in mind too, this broadhead's been shot a few times into foam and ballistics gel, so it's a little bit dull, but overall it held the sharpness pretty good. It's not, I mean, I wouldn't say it's probably shaving sharp at this point, but let's find out. It pulls hair, so that's pretty impressive still. It actually still, you can see on there, even after all that damage, it's still still shaving sharp, so that's pretty good. Not the smoothest shave I've ever had, but still enough to cut hair. So the blade's bent a little bit. The ferrule is in fine shape, so you can replace the blades on this and still shoot it. It does come with additional shock collars, and it does come with a practice head, so you don't have to use these to sight in your bow and tune your bow. It comes with 3 additional shock collars, and it comes with the practice head, and I cannot remember what they call this practice head, but it comes with a practice head that works pretty dang good. I've used this practice head on the Megameats and some others to test it out, and it does a fine job as far as getting your bow tuned and ready to go for these expandable broadheads. So overall, the Megameat, I'm really impressed with the cutting diameter. I'm really impressed with the sharpness. The sharpness was just off the charts. The accuracy is really, really good. Durability is actually about what I expect for an expandable broadhead, and overall this could be rebuilt for a little bit of money. Rather than going out and buying new ones, you could replace the blades on this and get this thing back in shape. As far as durability of sharpness goes, fantastic sharpness on there. The tip is still really good. Didn't curl the tip or do any kind of damage to the tip. So overall, I'm very impressed with the Megameat. It's everything you want out of an expandable head. It opens easy, it's sharp, going to do a lot of damage, going to do an absolute ton of damage to an animal. So if you have the setup to use an expandable head, I definitely recommend this Megameat. This is an outstanding broadhead. Like all the G5 broadheads that I have used and tested out, just performed fantastic. So check this out at G5's website. We'll put a link down in the description below. Check out these Megameats. Also check out the new Montex, and check out the Striker X, which is the broadhead I'm going to be shooting this year. I'm shooting 60 pounds and just not quite pushing enough kinetic energy to shoot an expandable comfortably. So I'm going to be shooting the Striker X, and you can check that out. And you can check out the reviews that we did on those two on our YouTube channel and on our social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook under Ike's Outdoors. And if you would please like, subscribe, and share these videos, that really does help us out and really does give us what we need to continue on with this channel and continue getting products like this to do testing suits. Check this Megameat out. Put the link directly down below. Definitely a good expandable head and definitely worth checking out. If you hunt with the Megameat this year, I would love to see some pictures of animals that you harvest with the Megameats, and I would love to see the damage that is done with these broadheads. Check these out below. Be sure to send me some pictures later on in the year if you harvest an animal with the Megameats. So appreciate you guys watching these videos, and we'll see you next time.